Hey guys, Videosec here. Now, as I have stated before, I was once a Christian myself, and around the time when I decided or kind of realized completely that I wasn't really a Christian, it was about when I was 18, 17 years old. I mean, when I was 17, I was still going to a Christian school full of women, and yeah, me and the Christians just were not getting along. you know. And it would tend to gang up on me on your opinion sometimes, in a non-respective manner. But the typical thing about what a Christian thinks about just adultery in general, like I would say your typical Christian would think that adultery is wrong, and so these love dolls would obviously be unnatural since it's not with a human being and that you shouldn't do it. It's just adultery and all that. That, looking at a woman or somebody, even a man or whatever, is wrong, to look at somebody like that and all that jazz. I mean, that's typically what a Christian thinks, but I, of course, wanted to go a bit more in depth with that. And I kind of found something that was kind of put out a couple years ago. So here we go. The Facts, Christians, and the Moral Threat of Sex Robots. A Canadian company has announced plans to open a robot brothel in Houston, where customers can rent a sex robot by the hour, while similar brothels are currently operating in such countries such as France, Germany, Russia, Spain, Scotland, and the United Kingdom. This would be the first such operation in the United States, of course. And it states why this is an issue Christians should know about. Throughout most of the 20th century, the average American Christian remained largely unaware of trends in deviant sexual behaviors until they reached either mainstream acceptance or had become large-scale social maladies. It's kind of weird how to spell it. The expansion and the ubiquity of technology has caused such a problem to rapidly shift from niche concerns to epidemics in almost every, epidemics, every community in America. My God. Whereas problems such as pornography and prostitution were once on the margin, God damn it, the internet has pushed them into nearly every home. Well, I hate to tell you this, Mr. Christians, but pornography and prostitution have basically been around since almost the beginning of time. They've always been, I would say, kind of a necessary sin, as I would like to call it. All right, next one. Similarly, sex robots may seem to be a futuristic concern, but attitudes about sex robots are already becoming extremely permissive. A recent survey found that 1 in every 4 men, 24%, and 1 in every 10 women, 9%, would consider having sex with a robot. Only about a third, 32%, believe having sex with a robot while in a relationship should be considered cheating. It's just a sex toy. I don't know what to tell you guys. It's not cheating. And almost half of Americans, 49%, also believe that having sex with robots will become common practice within the next 50 years. It might actually be even less than that, to be frank, but we'll see. But, okay, so let's look at that for one moment. 24% for men and 9% for women. I'm actually a bit surprised it's not more than that, but I don't know. I'm thinking it's probably a bit more than that, to be frank. It's not like you get diseases from these things or anything. But anyway, while we might wish to remain ignorant about trends such as sex, robots, and virtual reality-based pornography, we need to begin repairing the day to respond to the challenges they will cause for our families and church congregations. Yeah, right. Yeah, we need to prepare, guys. That being said, not every Christian is able to educate themselves about sexual problems without causing them to stumble. Oh, the old days. The content below is not salacious, or they spelled that word wrong here, prudence. We encourage those who struggle in this area of life to use caution. In reading this article, and consider whether it might be something you should personally avoid engaging in. For similar reasons, some links to the resources used in this article have been excluded. Yeah, Christians, I hate to say it, but you kind of need to educate yourself on stuff like this. You need to stop hiding away from sin. Like, you seriously need to stop hiding from sin. You need to know what evil is. I mean, for one. And two, nothing's going on. Anyway. Sex robots are technologically advanced form of object commonly known as a sex doll, fornicatory doll, or gynoid. The term gynoid is derived from the Greek prefix gyn, woman, and is the female equivalent of a male android and humanoid robots. My God. Although sex dolls have been available in the United States since at least the 1960s, advances in technology have led to the creation of gynoids that can move, express emotions, and even carry on simple conversations. Artificial intelligence and advances in material sciences may soon make gynoids even more lifelike and affordable, increasing both the supply and also the demand for gynoids. What is the moral problem with using sex robots? Yeah, whatever. I don't really see it being a moral issue. I don't see having sex with a sex doll as right or wrong, but that's just my opinion, I guess. I don't know about you. The use of gynoids as sexual objects raises a number of concerns for both Christians and non-believers. Yeah, I've definitely been getting some issues lately, with my girl. She's been hitting me lately. The most obvious problem is that it separates sexual activity from the form in which it was intended by God, the physical one flesh union of man and woman within the bounds of marriage. Matt 19:6. The second problem is that it fosters and normalizes deviant fetishes and paraphilias, including agalmatophilia, sexual attraction to dolls and other figurative objects, somonophilia, sexually arousal to someone who is unconscious, and necrophilia, sexual attraction to corpses. I've actually heard this one before, and it's so not true. It's so not true. Oh, God. That just makes me laugh every fucking time I hear that. It's not like I'm just going to go out and have sex with a corpse right now just because I have sex with a love doll. Anyway. Okay, sexual attraction to dolls and other figurative objects. I mean, you can't change nature, guys. You just cannot fucking change nature. And sexual arousal to... Yeah, I don't have sex with unconscious people. All right, moving on. The third problem is that it reduces male empathy to teaching men to treat women and sometimes children as objects and blank canvases on which to enact their sexual fantasies. This guy's just acting like these sex dolls are just a gateway to everything that's sinful, I swear to God. Nice. Oh, God. The fourth problem is that when they become part of the mainstream culture, they will erode intimacy between married couples, according to Dr. Trudy Barber, an expert on the effect of technology and sexual intercourse. Sex between couples will increasingly be saved for special occasions as robots step in to satisfy everyday needs. I mean, I actually don't know why they would have something against that, because I don't know. Like, I do know, because like I said, I used to be Christian, but like, it's just fucking stupid. How are sex robots connected to prostitution? The use of sex robots is often touted as a way to reduce the demand for prostitution, but numerous studies have found that the introduction of new technology supports and contributes to the expansion of prostitution. There are more women are employed by sex industry than any other time in history, says Kathleen Richardson, a professor of ethics and culture of robots and AI at the Montfort University. So basically, of course, what they were stating is, oh, we're using each other like sex objects instead of these love dolls, which actually kind of goes against what they said just a moment ago, but okay. Prostitution and pornography production also rises with the growth of the internet. In 1990, 5.6% of men reported paying for sex in their lifetime. By 2000, this had increased to 8.8%. Well, because it's become more readily available for people to pay for those types of services because of the internet. So it's not really a surprise. Although it's not like prostitution hasn't been around, I will say at least this much, but the internet has made it more available, is the only thing. That's the only difference that it's really made when it comes to prostitution. Anyway, the arguments that sex robots will provide artificial sexual substitutes and reduce the purchase of sex by buyers is not borne out by evidence, Richardson adds. A report by the Foundation for Responsible Robotics says that we have found no indications that robots will end prostitution or sex trafficking in our investigation on surveys. And that's actually the first thing that they've said that I've actually agreed with. That's like the only thing I've seen so far that I've actually kind of agreed with. That's so funny. Anyway, what is more likely to occur is that as men use the robots to practice even more deviant forms of sexual behavior, and whatever, it will increase their desire to act out such perverse fantasies, on human women, because most women and girls do not want to be treated in such an abusive manner. It will increase the demand for trafficked victims who are unable to refuse their criminal oppressors. Oh, what the fuck ever. That's just them saying, oh, it's a gateway to this and that. It's not a fucking gateway. Give me a fucking break. You don't see me out there going out there doing the shit I do to my love doll to other women like they're a fucking sex toy. Give me a fucking break. How are sex robots connected to pedophilia? Oh my god, here we go. Some have argued that child sex robots should be used as a treatment for pedophilia. Oh god. In 2012, a robotics professor at the Georgia Institute of Technology has argued that people should not only legally be permitted to have such dolls, but perhaps some should be handed prescriptions for them. In his opinion, sex robots might function as an outlet for people to express their urges, redirecting dark desires toward machines and away from real children. Yeah, good luck with that. Another advocate, Shin Takagi, runs a Japanese company that produces lifelike child sex dolls, as the Atlantic notes, and ships anatomically correct imitations of girls as young as 5 to clients around the world. Takagi, who admits to having pedophilic desires, oh my god, says, I am helping people express their desires legally and ethically. It's not worth living if you have to live with repressed desire. I mean, I would say I do kind of agree with that at least. But as engagement with adult sex robots is likely to increase the demand for human prostitutes, the use of child sex robots is expected to increase abuse of children. Oh, whatever. As one pedophilia researcher says, contact with Takagi's products would likely have a reinforcing effect on pedophilic ideation, and in many instances cause it to be acted upon with greater urgency. Whatever. Treating pedophiles with robot sex children is both a dubious, repulsive idea. Robot ethic Patrick Lynn says, imagine treating racism by letting up bigots abuse of brown robots. Wow, that was a good one. Would that work? Probably not. I mean, yeah, I mean, I do agree with what they said, that it's not really going to keep them from doing anything. But I don't know, just some of the shit that they're saying is just hilarious. What policy actions should be taken on the issue? Unfortunately, as with pornography, there are few policy options available to the U.S. citizens that can help curb the expansion of this threat. Yeah, threat. However, there are two ways we can make a difference. First, at the local level, you can encourage your local city council or zoning commission to impose ordinances prohibiting sex robots, brothels in your community. The Houston City Council, for example, will be voting today on just such an ordinance. Oh, let's see. Okay. Second, at the national level, you can support legislation banning child sex dolls. As past June, the U.S. House passed the curbing. The legislation prohibits sports of anatomically correct doll, mannequin, or robots with the features or with features that resemble those of a minor and intended for use in sexual acts. Legislation is currently before the U.S. Senate's Committee on it Jurisdictionary that you can call your senators, encourage them to pass this important legislation, yada, 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 yada. I mean, Jesus Christ. So, yeah, that was a bit long. Now, I will, at the last moment here, will note I have put in the description a little more information, and it's just a little bit more of a read, not much more than a few paragraphs. It's called A Christian's Perspective on Social Media Craze for Sex Dolls, basically. And it's, I would say, the most typical, viewpoint, Christian viewpoints on sex dolls that I would say that there is out there. So if you want to continue to learn or read more about that kind of stuff, there you go. But, my God. Oh my God. I mean, it is funny too because, when I was a kid, I used to believe in, I would say, at least 90% of this BS. And, looking back, man, I just can't believe I believed in it. I just can't fucking believe it because, these people don't have the right to tell me that I can't use a fucking sex toy. I mean, that's just fucking stupid. What kind of person thinks that they have a right to tell me who I can have sex with and who I cannot have sex with? That's just way too fucking controlling. And that's part of the reason why I'm not a Christian anymore to begin with. Is because this shit about, adultery, especially, is just fucking bullshit. It really is just bullshit. And again, I can't believe I believed it as long as I did. And it's like, oh, it's not natural. It's like, oh, give me a fucking break. Why do we have a fucking G-spot in our asses if it's not fucking natural? I mean, you want to talk to me about what's natural and what God's plan for us is? It's like, well, God gave us a fucking G-spot, so if you're saying shit like, oh, sex isn't natural, then you're questioning God's judgment is what you're doing. And again, I'm not really even Christian anymore. And even I think, when people talk like that, it's fucking bullshit. Don't tell me that, our bodies are only made to have kids. It's more than that. There's a lot more to our bodies and ourselves than just, doing what God wants us to do. Mr. Controlling God. Sometimes it just makes God sound like such a fucking asshole sometimes. That's what I think sometimes. But, that's just how people are sometimes. Anyway, so at this point, I guess I'll just end the video. If you guys have, of course, any more questions, comments, etc., just lay them down. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.